What's up, everybody? We got Jason Aponte, the mayor of 49ers social media, back in business with us. We got a lot to talk about today. I mean, I thought we might be looking more towards previewing the Colts, things like that. But we had some quotes pop up today surrounding Deforest Buckner. And as we just hop right in, and I want to know how you're doing today as well. But I want to know how you're doing and just kind of your first initial thoughts on the whole DeForest Buckner situation that's going on.
Well, I think that we all realized that this week was going to be an exercise in futility to go around, and talk about what happened with DeForest Buckner and everything as well too. But I found it interesting that in a week where we had an interview with John Lynch that felt like damage control, absolutely felt like damage control, right? And it felt like something that was planned and almost felt like to put the fan base at ease, that DeForest Buckner would agree to a conference call with all of the Bay Area beat writers to rehash something that is sort of a sensitive subject, and it has been even when the Colts are not playing the 49ers. Literally every time DeForest Buckner makes a play, it is always brought up on 49ers Twitter about, man, I can't believe we let Buckner go. So this just adds a little bit more intrigue to it. And the comments that came out of it, for the people who were not in love with that move, they don't feel too good right now. But we'll talk about that a little bit further. So it only adds more intrigue into a game that felt like it's as close as to a must-win as there is this early in the season, right? When you think about where the team is, where the expectations are, what people thought about this team, and where they're at right now, this one felt like a must-win. Now this has been jammed into hyperdrive right now in terms of this is as close to a must-win as there can be in a Week 6 game. And I'll let you go on from there. But that Buckner interview did not help in any way. It didn't help calm any sort of, it didn't help calm any nerves amongst the fan base at all.
No, clearly you and I, we've been covering the 49ers for some time now. We've been through the ups and downs. So we've seen our fair share of shenanigans, whether it was the Reuben Foster situation, to any other that you can think of, the Borland situation, back to the Anthony Davis situation, him retiring on the 49ers twice. The 49ers and 49ers fans are clearly used to this type of situations, and not because we want to be, but kind of because we have to be. And I think just with the whole situation with DeForest Buckner meeting with the 49ers media today and saying some of the things that he said, such as, quote, I'm willing to meet in the middle, but I didn't want to take that big of a pay cut. I had a baby on my way and I had to take care of my family. And then basically goes on to say, a week later, after the first initial contract situation was discussed, he was traded. So of course, 49er fans, when that is brought up, it's going to bring up a lot of pain and a lot of emotions. It's going to bring a lot of angst towards Eric Armstead, because it feels like, at least from a fan base perspective, those two are going to be forever connected as a result of that trade. So it brings internal turmoil. So it's, again, the fan base right now is primed and ready for anything that isn't positive to just kind of jump all over it. So it's kind of where we're at. But I think you also hit on it a second ago about the Colts game being a must win here in 49ers' sixth matchup of this season, being down 2-3. And I think you're exactly right. I think that this Jimmy Garoppolo tried to skirt the question when he was asked about it today in his press conference of it's just another game on the schedule. It's just 1 week at a time, which is the typical answer. But I think you're right. I think this is a must-win game, because the 49ers can change the entire conversation surrounding this team, change some narratives, and get some positivity headed in the right direction. What do you think the 49ers need to do against the Colts to accomplish that?
Well, obviously, what we know right now about the Colts is that they're a very good run defense at this point, right? And It's hard to take anything away from what they did against Houston. No disrespect to Davis Mill and those NFL professional football players, but that is a very limited team. Right. So I'm going to go back to the Ravens game. And they had injury after injury in their secondary. That's where you need to attack them. That's where Jimmy Garoppolo has to attack them to win, right? He's not going to do anything with his legs, right? And we suspect that with the way that this run game has been rolling lately, that it may not be on par with what we expected, right, for the season to start. So Jimmy Garoppolo largely has to come out here and play very well for them to win this game. Also, I want to point out the fact that Carson Wentz has been playing very well, very well, very, very well. And last year, I don't want to bring up old wounds, but that Eagles game, they won that game. And say what you want about who made interceptions, things like that. He made the play at the end of the game, right? So it's really going to come down to, hey, Jimmy Garoppolo, how does your calf feel? Are you going to be able to lift this team up right now and be the guy that you are? And absolutely right what you said about that, about his quote. That's what you want to hear. That it's nothing more than a regular game. Those are all the things that you want to hear. That's a very generic quote. But at the same time, this game falls largely on him at this point, based on the fact that the running backs right now that are going to be deployed are going to be Elijah Mitchell, maybe Trey Sermon, a lot of Kyle Juszczyk. It's going to be on Jimmy Garoppolo to win this game. So it's going to largely fall in his lap. And again, I don't want to put more pressure on it, but there's a large contingency of this fan base, including myself, that wanted to see Trey Lance start this week. I mean, I understand that he's not healthy.
Right.
But at the same time, if Jimmy Garoppolo comes out and he does not perform well, or the offense continues to roll in the fashion that it's been under him, then the voices get louder around it. And that's the problem more than anything, right? So it's a no-win situation for Jimmy Garoppolo right now, because he has to go out there. And if he goes out there and he balls out, then people are going to say, oh, whatever, well, their secondary is not that good, But at the same time,
there's an excuse for every narrative, right?
100%. And if he doesn't ball out, then, it's a problem, and it's going to lead to more discussion around that. So this game has a lot more intrigue around. I mean, it's already a Sunday night game, but now with the John Lynch interview with Matt Mayoko, and everybody's turned into body language experts. Every single person has a degree in body language,
including
right now,
me,
including you. Yep. Listen, I've been in situations where I need to lie, and I know for a fact that does not come off convincing. Like this thing, that thing, that's fine, whatever. But touching the face, like Jerry Seinfeld said, the higher up on your face you go, the more worried you are. Like, yeah, pretty good.
You
yeah,
start scratching up here.
Oh my God. No. Yeah, it's done. Yeah. So I get all that. But at the same time, this game has a lot more intrigue to it, as if it didn't already. The 49ers need to win this game. And winning masks everything. It's the best deodorant. So that's it. Just go out there and win, and then things calm down for a little bit. That's all.
Of course. And I think you said it exactly right. A lot of the focus this week is going to come back onto the quarterback play, such as it has been the entire year, because that has seemingly the unit, the offense that is seemingly having the most struggles out of anyone on the team at this moment. And of course, when we watch football, we watch the ball and we watch where it's going. Even as you and I, who take a look at the all 22 and we really break it down, when we're watching live broadcasts, I can speak for myself, I'm watching the football. I'm watching the quarterback. I'm watching what they're doing. I have to go back and watch the offensive line play and the small nuances. So that's what everyone's watching. That's what everyone's looking for. So of course, there's going to be a ton of pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo this week. It is sounding like that Trey Lance won't even be available to dress. So it sounds like Nate Sudfeld will be the backup option. No potential of Trey Lance coming in. Late game heroics from Trey Lance. You can essentially kind of erase that from this week. But in a sense, for a team that needs to get right, needs to get back on track, needs to get the offense going in the right direction, maybe that little just minor nuance of maybe Jimmy not looking over his shoulder that game could be enough for them to propel a win against the Colts on national TV, because I think they really, really need to. Looking kind of at the trench play, obviously we talked a little bit about Deforest Buckner. We anticipate Deforest Buckner will have a decent impact because he's going up against guys like Laken Tomlinson, Daniel Brunskill, and Alex Mack. They've been serviceable up until this point, but they have also shown that they are susceptible to getting beat now and again by a good move or a good counter move. So that needs to be put into the forefront of your mind in regards to defending DeForest Buckner. But some of the other news that have come out of today's press conferences surrounding Javon Kinlaw and his knee tendonitis and his knee situation, it sounds like it's not getting any better. In fact, it actually sounds like it's getting worse. And some of the words that Kyle Shanahan used today was managed the injuries since the offseason surgery on the knee. What is your whole take on Javon Kinlaw? Of course, we talked about the Deforest Buckner trade. Those two will absolutely be forever linked because Deforest was traded for a first-round pick. That first-round pick becomes Javon Kinlaw and sprinkled a Brandon Aiyuk on top of that as well with the trade back and what have you. But how do you see Javon Kinlaw, his usage up until this point, how it relates to the DeForest Buckner trade? And do you think they kind of sense they might be in a little bit of trouble in that regard?
Well, I'll tell you this. The one thing that I know for a fact, the one narrative that I always agree with is the revenge game narrative. And you cannot tell me that DeForest Buckner is not going to come out here and want to do what he wants to do in this game. And he understands that. So, look, again, narratives aside, that's the one thing that I always think is always in play. If it's a revenge game in any way, I'm always in on that. But with the Javon Kinlaw thing, it's weird because he posts on social media the game within the game, whatever it is, and then he deletes it and the politics, and he's saying, again, it just leads to the uneasiness right now with this fan base, right? Like, that's very cryptic. That feels weird. Why is that coming out right now? And then to hear Kyle Shanahan say he's nowhere near it right now, or he's not close, or we need him to get right before he becomes a player we know he can be. It's just, you're right, man. Unfortunately for Javon Kinlaw, he will forever. If Javon Kinlaw and Eric Armstead are forever linked to DeForest Buckner, that's never going to go away, especially when we talk about contracts. And there's been a lot of talk about contracts, who makes what, and now DeForest Buckner didn't help this situation in any way by talking about, hey, I was trying to meet you halfway and I wanted to stay and you guys didn't once, but I just know
me in the middle.
Yeah, it's just like, man, why did you have to say this? And it's like, oh my goodness, man. I mean, obviously it's not up to the 49ers whether he can accept this press conference, right? Like that was something that the Colts have to go through him. And obviously this feels like something that DeForest Buckner wanted to get off his chest because he knows all of these things. And unfortunately for 49er fans and the ones who didn't like that move, today was a big day because today was a day that you were kind of proven right on almost everything that you thought. DeForest Buckner wanted to be here. He was trying to meet halfway. Didn't seem like the team looked like it. And they went ahead and they moved, the way that the team moves. Team over player, right? And the people will start to speculate, was he lowballed? Yes. If he's talking about what he was actually owed, then yeah, it was sort of lowballed, right? So it's I feel bad for Javon Kinlaw. I really do, man, because he didn't ask to be drafted here. And the 49ers felt like that they were making a move. But at the same time, I will piggyback on this. I understand that everybody wants DeForest Buckner, but when you can get the number 13 pick for him, for a defensive lineman, you do that 100 days out of 100 days. Now, if you want to argue about whether that was the right pick, that is something completely separate. But if you're getting the 13th pick for a defensive lineman, then you do that 100 times out of 100 times. I believe. You just have to have a solid plan in place. That's it. So I feel bad for Javon Kinlaw. He's going to be the guy that's going to be, offered up as, look, he's not performing. Look what you let go. Or look at Armstead. Armstead right now is technically producing more than DeForest Buckner.
He's doing good, and people still coming down his road.
People don't want to talk about that. No. People don't want to talk about that. So that's another piece of the conversation that needs to be added. So I think that at this point, what has to happen is the 49ers need to take special attention to DeForest Buckner, because wherever he moves, he is looking to make a statement, make his mark. And I feel bad for Javon Kinlaw. That's all I want to say. I feel bad for him because, one, you already knew that he had these knee issues. So for it to pop up all of a sudden now and you act like, oh, I had no idea. No, or oh, look at him. No, you knew that going in. Right. So it's not his fault. He didn't draft himself, but yeah, this DeForest Buckner thing is not going away anytime soon, man. It's just really not, man.
It is absolutely not going away anytime soon. Of course, like you said, the whole DeForest Buckner quote thing today just poured a lot of gasoline on some narratives that have kind of been rumbling from the underneath of the underbelly on 49ers Twitter, and of course it explodes when these types of quotes and things come out. And you're right, it's that Kinlaw and Eric are going to be forever linked to Buckner, and it's unfortunate. And even in a season where Eric Armstead is performing above average, like he's performing really, really well considering what he's asked to do within that defense, and yet they're still coming down his road because it's just I think an emotional pain that this fan base, it's just one of those things that stings you and just kind of lives with you as a fan. So I think we're kind of seeing that. We're kind of seeing how it's really, really difficult for the fans to overcome and
Can I?
quantify. Go ahead, jump in.
No, I mean, no, you're right. But can I say one more thing? He didn't. Jimmy Ward didn't help either this week. By saying, "Man, I would have loved to have kept Buckner." And I look at the Chiefs, I look at the Rams, and you realize, hey, they get it done
Didn't hear
somehow.
that.
And it's just like, come on, man. Like, I mean, look, you can feel that way, and
Right.
that's how a lot of people feel.
Right.
But man, that does not help. I mean, this fan base ate that up and took it and said, "Look at that," right?
Oh
like, and
yeah.
it's just like, come on, man.
Yes.
Like, it just it was just this week for a bye week, right? And for
Right.
a week prepare, this has been like the 49ers have been playing this entire time and continue to stack up these sort of L's or whatever. It's just like, why is this continuing to happen? Why does it need to always be the conversation? And it's like, man, if the 49ers win this game, then a lot of things go, then they
Right.
go away. So this is why it feels like a must win. You gotta kind of just win this game so you can just silence it for a little while. You can get back to arguing about it next week. I promise you. Let's silence it for a little while.
I really think it's safe to say that it's 49ers versus Colts / 49ers fan base. Like that's what it is. And so obviously we're insulated into our community. So we hear all of it and we see all of it just like the players do, just like management sees. You talked about the interview with John Lynch, kind of having to get out in front of it and kind of having to, do the PR thing, which is that's where we're at. We're at the point where messages are having to be put out so they're received and heard a certain way, and a win against the Colts right now just cures all of that, because that's the biggest thing that's been the biggest takeaway from the 0-3 stretch that the 49ers have gone on, is that after every week we're not focusing on the positives of a win. When they lose, we focus why they lost, and so that in of itself breeds more negativity, more just kind of, it puts the emphasis, angst is a great word, and it puts the emphasis on the things that aren't going right and not putting any emphasis on the things that are going right, because there are. It's not cut and dry. It's not all bad. It's not all garbage. It's not all trash. They're like the key buzzwords that fans love to use when talking about this team. They are a solid team. They have good enough pieces, just like Trent Williams has said. No one is walking in this door to save us. We have all the pieces right here in the building. You and I have discussed. You execute here a little bit differently. The defense doesn't read what we're trying to do right away and stop it right away. Maybe something else happens over here. So we see the path forward. And I think the biggest thing against the Colts is that get right path, is to get back getting right. And in your opinion, what does getting back to getting right look like to you?
Just running the football, getting back to play action, involving Brandon Aiyuk, please. Especially with George Kittle missing and no semblance of any other help from the receiver position coming, especially, we all love what Trent Sherfield did in camp, but he's not on the field. I don't want to see Travis Benjamin out there running routes. Just come on, get back to basics. Get back to basics. Use your strengths. Control the game. This is what the 49ers did that was so successful in 2019, was control the game, control the clock, run the ball, impose your will, right? Like, impose your will. And I understand that this is completely different because the Colts front seven is really good. Like, it is. It really is, man. And that's just what it is. But if Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be there, check into the right plays, make the right calls at the protection line. Do it, like Jimmy Garoppolo, come on. This is it now. Like, if you're going to figure it out, like, I know you're not going to be here next year. but you're also playing to show people that you're going to be a starting quarterback in this league later on. Come on, this one falls on you a little bit too, man. Come on, man. Like, come on, man. I just a little bit more from Jimmy. Just look, I don't know if this team can go with another 212 yard, 1 touchdown, 1 interception game from Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, he needs to not put the ball in harm's way. Right. And command this team, man. Like, I'm sorry. Look, I know the salary doesn't dictate all that, but you make a lot of money. You are the starting quarterback of this team. And this coaching staff is showing a lot of confidence in you, because I'm not certain that I buy the whole Trey Lance is injured narrative, right? They want you to play.
Right.
Come on. Step it up right now. Like, right here, right now on Sunday Night Football, just like you kind of did at the end of that game with the Packers. Show out a little bit. Just show out. Come on. Like, a little bit. And just show people that you can't just play the middle of the field. You can't just sit on all those underneath curl routes and all those things. Throw the ball. Get to it. Like, and that's my problem with what's going on. So, I mean, just do it, Jimmy. That's it, man. It's on you. It's on Kyle. Jimmy and Kyle right now, this is their game. This is on them. This one. So, I mean, Elijah Mitchell's going to be back. There's no snap count. He's been off of the bye week. There's no problems, nothing like that. You know, you have your running backs in place. You know, I understand George Kittle's not there, and I understand that that's a large part of what you want to do running the ball. But at the same time, you if I believe what Kyle Shanahan is as an offensive guru, offensive genius, then I believe that he should be able to power through this. And I think that's what we should be expecting in this game.
I agree. And I share similar thoughts of you in regards to kind of urging Jimmy Garoppolo to this is your opportunity. This is the time to have one of your best games of your career. The entire world's watching. You've been dragged through the storm for over a year now. Over a year. You have a clear understanding of who has your back and who doesn't. And the list of people who has your back is much, much shorter than the list of people who have your back. So what do you have to lose? What do you really have to lose at this point? And I want to see that type of confidence out of Jimmy Garoppolo. Not trying to bring myself into the conversation at all, but just a personal something that I played with was a quote that I used to read before every game was play every single down like it's your last. This is it. This is my last play ever. And it changes something in your mentality. It changes your vibe. It changes the urgency that you go about playing. And I want to see Jimmy play like that. I want him to go out there like his life depends on it. And I want to see that come out in him. I want to see the sideline like feed off of that. I want to see it all.
Do you see the comment? Do you see
Is it Don Burr?
Yo, Don Burr is low key. You're a 49. You're part of 49ers Twitter now, Don 100%. Burr. And I don't think you can. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut Brad off, but I just saw it pop up and I just had to. So yeah.
No, every time Don Burr hops in the chat, it's like squirrel. It's like, oh, Don Burr's here. We always shout out Don Burr. Always shout out the legend, Lions legend, 49ers legend soon. But anyways, essentially kind of what I was saying was just really, really would love to see Jimmy Garoppolo seize the opportunity. Obviously, the season hasn't gone as he wants it to. I'm sure his camp would say the same thing. I'm sure the team would say the same thing. I would probably assume that Jimmy Garoppolo, if he looked himself in the mirror, said, I could probably play a little bit better. I could be a little bit more confident in spots. So I really think this is a good opportunity with no Trey Lance over his shoulder. This is it. And I really would like to see Jimmy Garoppolo come out with that confidence. I think that's the biggest thing that I want to see because you said it. This is on Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan at this point.
Yeah.
It really is because the offense has sputtered and it sputters with, it feels like those two. Like whether it's the scheme thing of defenses keying on everything that we're doing pre-snap and or just how we're working through our reads and our progressions. Would really, really love to see that. Do you think though, with this situation with Brandon Aiyuk, do you think it's repairable or do you think we're heading towards a situation where it is unrepairable?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just so frustrated with the way that Kyle and John have talked about Brandon Aiyuk, and it doesn't jive with everything that, like, again, I hate to get back on this, and I know I see people in the comments saying they want more spicy Aponte. Look, I'm chilling right now. I'm chilling. If we lose this game, pull up for the post game, and I got you. But I I don't think you can fake what Brandon Aiyuk did last year. I don't think you can fake that. And again, it's not about, when it happened or, was it during garbage time against what team? I look at the cornerbacks that he was roasting: Tre'Davious White, Marcus Lattimore, any of the guys that you consider one of the best in the league. Brandon Aiyuk was taking a top off. And that's my problem, man. You don't fake that. That's not something you can fake in 1 year, right? That's not him getting schemed open. So that's my issue. Is why aren't you making a more concerted effort to get Brandon Aiyuk the ball behind the line of scrimmage? And for all the people who talk about separation, yards separation, let me give you a fact real quick, real fact. And this is something you could look up on Next Gen Stats. Brandon Aiyuk has 1.7 yards per separation, right? Per route run. Jamar Chase is about to win Offensive Rookie of the Year with 1.8. Allen Robinson, 1.9. Would you say that either of those receivers are bad? No. The problem is that he's not being schemed into those easy touches. Manufacture those touches the same way that you do it for Deebo Samuel, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle. Manufacture those touches for Brandon Aiyuk. I'm not certain what Brandon Aiyuk has done to have this fan base this coaching staff sour on him. But come on, man, please. Look, at the end of the day, good coaches know to get their ball in the hands of their playmakers. Brandon Aiyuk's a playmaker. Get him the ball, man, one way or another. Find a way to do it. You did it when Brandon Aiyuk wasn't there. Literally, the Eagles game, he scored a touchdown on a tunnel screen that was thrown behind the line of scrimmage, and literally this man took it, jumped over a man, and scored a touchdown. Where is that? Why isn't that happening? And for all the people that say, oh, hey, well, that was when Deebo played, and they were still doing that. Come on, please, man. Like, that's it. Like, get the ball in the hands of your playmakers. And you know what gets me more frustrated? For all this talk about who's Kyle's guy, who's not Kyle's guy, was he forced to take this guy? Kyle loved Aiyuk.
That was his guy.
Make it make sense, man. I don't understand, bro. I really don't, man. Please. Look, if you didn't like the kid, that's one thing, but you traded up to get him. Please. Help me.
I think we're pulling some spicy Aponte out. I love it. Keep it coming. We got to get spicy Aponte going a little bit more because I think of it. Go for it. Go spicy.
I watched all his routes, right? And I've been watching his routes because I'm tired of people telling me about no separation. Oh, he's running lazy. He's clearing things out for Deebo Samuel. They're watching him take the top off the defense so Deebo Samuel could run that drift route over the middle and be open. Are you guys watching the games, or are you just running with the narratives that are out there based on Twitter? Please get the ball to Brandon Aiyuk. Please.
Absolutely. And I love spicy Jason. It makes my heart warm.
Don't get me started.
I think we're getting a little bit of it.
Don't get me started.
But let me put it like this. I think it's clear that something is going on behind the scenes. We don't know what it is. There's something regarding Matt. It feels like a maturity issue. It feels like he's either not doing the small things right, which are show up to meetings on time and or missing meetings. There's been rumors out there about curfews being missed. Like those are the things right now that feel like, I actually don't know at all, but it feels like that's kind of what is going on. There's some kind of internal something. There's something going on. And at what point? Oh, they want more, Jason.
Well, all right. So look, you want examples? Let's
get it.
Go watch your Lions game when his hamstring was injured, right?
Oh, that trick hammy, man.
Go watch that hammy, right? The injury. He literally runs a clear out route where the cornerback and the safety run with Aiyuk, and Deebo Samuel's able to run underneath him and run that drift route and guess what? Get 25, 30 yards. Watch the games. Watch the routes. Don't bring me narratives if you haven't. Look, to quote the great Rich Madrid, watch the tape.
Rich Madrid. Watch the tape. Tape doesn't lie. And if you know how to watch the tape, it definitely does not lie. And I know my guy Jason knows how to watch those coverages and knows how to watch these routes come open and come apart. So I trust everything that my guy has to say. One of the things, though, that seems to continue to pop up around the situation is that it's clear as day that the talent is not the issue, right? There seems to be something internal going on. So at what point do the 49ers decide to, because it feels like this situation is just compounding on itself, meaning it's getting worse. It's not getting better. At what point do we just take the handcuffs off Aiyuk, #free Aiyuk, and like you said, scheme him the ball, get him the ball behind the line of scrimmage if we have to, do all those types of things? Do you think that we have a better chance of seeing that from Brandon Aiyuk this week, or do you think it's actually going to just keep heading down the wrong path?
Brad, I have no idea, but all I know is the comments have been hilarious on both sides. I've been sitting there reading them. Look, honestly, Brad, though, it's absolutely right? It's absolutely right? Like, we don't know what's going on, right? Because we were only at camp when things were, put out there, when we were able to actually film and watch and things like that. But now, people aren't being able to see what's going on right there. So maybe there is something, right? Maybe there is, right? Like, let's just play devil's advocate. Maybe there is something. At the same time, man, I watch you get guys open and get guys the ball. The dude is a playmaker when the ball is in his hands, man. Like, try to get him the ball. Look, I'm not going to say that I know better than Kyle, because obviously I don't. I'm just a guy with a bunch of Batman shit behind my head right now, and just, yelling at the camera or whatever. But at the same time, man, I've watched Brandon Aiyuk play against competition that, is better than, obviously what he's been facing now. And I've seen him get the ball and actually do things with it. It has nothing to do with fantasy. It has more to do with, hey, look, no George Kittle, right? So doesn't that make it seem like it's an easy transition to try to get the ball to Brandon Aiyuk when George Kittle's not there? It's less about what I can tell is going on and more about what kind of makes sense in my head. What makes sense in my head is George Kittle's number one, Deebo Samuel's number two, or whatever, 1 and 2, however you want to. But now that one of those guys is gone, why can't the other guys slot right in, especially when you saw what he did last year? And just, that's my thing, man. It's more than anything. The Brandon Aiyuk thing is frustrating, and it doesn't jive with anything that they've been saying.
I think one of my biggest takeaways against the Cardinals, with a George Kittle being out, how much 2 tight end sets they ran. Nothing against Dwelley and Warner, but like you said, you have weapons in your receiving room like Deebo Samuel, Trent Sherfield, Aiyuk, and Sanu has been pretty serviceable in spots. But you're using a lot of 2 tight ends. Nothing against those two, right? It's just like I think the fan base sees Brandon Aiyuk as this elite talent. So at the end of the day, those 2 parties, whether it's Kyle Shanahan, Brandon Aiyuk, they need to have a coming together moment where they just put everything to the side and say, you know what, Brandon? Kyle comes to Brandon and says, you know what? We might not be jiving right now. You might not be playing and doing and making the strides that we want to, but guess what? We need you this game. We need you to make those strides this game. Whatever has happened in the past, it's happened. Now we got to go out and get this W on national television. So let's scheme it up. Let's get you involved. And I think that would change a lot of that dynamic between. I saw Coach mention we've seen Aiyuk kind of give up on blocks at times, like citing the effort and what have you. If they can just kind of get past that, and maybe if you make Aiyuk feel a little bit more part of the game plan, then maybe the confidence comes from that. We don't know. We'll see. We'll continue to see how it plays out, but would love to see Brandon Aiyuk involved.
Look, I have one more complaint when it comes to that. Kyle picks and chooses who he wants to get mad at and stay mad at. And I don't like that. One of his guys misses a block and he's okay with it. But if it's one of the guys that he doesn't like that is missing a block, you're banished to the shadow realm.
Oh.
And you know what? Keep that same energy with every single player if that's the way you want to do it, right? And I think that leads to more dissension in the actual locker room, right? Because if one guy does the same thing that Brandon Aiyuk does, let's just say he misses a block, let's just say he's not running his route the right way, guess what? He gets benched. Or if Brandon Aiyuk has a drop and everybody's like, oh my God, but if another guy has a drop, he gets to get out there. That's my problem. Keep the same energy with everybody, man. Every single player. If you are going to establish a culture and if you are going to establish the way you want things run, then hold every single player, regardless of where they are drafted, where you have them in your pecking order, to the same standard. That's the problem. That's the problem. Look, we love Kendrick Bourne. We love him, right? And we wish we kind of had him back right now because that would be amazing right now. He would be the security blanket, not for that price, but hey.
Right.
But Kendrick Bourne dropped passes, and he gets to get run back out there. Dante Pettis
he
dropped
missed
the
meetings.
Pass. Yeah.
That fool's wild off the field.
Dante Pettis drops a pass. That's it, bro. You don't even get to play anymore, and your whole career is ruined. So it's just more about just keep it a buck with everybody. Everybody. Say it the same way with everybody, man. I don't want to hear about this guy is doing what we want to do, and then this guy makes one little mistake and he's gone. Come on, man. Every single player needs to be held to the same standard, and that's it. That's how you build culture. You don't pick and choose who you want to, dump on, but make sure that you keep that same energy. That's it.
Yeah, and I think I went on with Javi on his podcast last week. He said it a couple times, and I actually loved it. He's like, Kyle, just give those guys a hug every once in a while. And I get it. I've had hard coaches. I've had coaches where their only way of coaching is screaming at you and degrading you while they're screaming at you. That's just how they operate. Not saying that's what Kyle is, but there's a happy medium to all of it. You need some of that, but you also need some of that other side where you're compassionate, you're more understanding, you're more, and we're speculating a lot at this point.
We are. And I am too. So you can yell at me.
That's just what it feels like. It's just what it feels like.
Of course.
And I think that's part of the whole disconnect between when you have management, when
we want Gruden, somebody said. I'm sorry.
No, please no. But it's like part of the disconnect, right, comes from management airing out their grievances, right, without the fan base knowing what's going on. If we knew what was going on, like Brandon Aiyuk is doing X that is leading to this, then maybe we would understand a little bit better. But it was the ghost hamstring. Where he got hurt in the preseason. We're just ramping him up. Like they kind of set the fan base up to turn on them. And so that's, I think, the unfortunate part about how this is being managed. It's like, just keep it in house. Like, just stop coming out and saying it unless you're going to tell us why this is happening. And they're not. And so it's just creating more divisive discussion.
Dude, the other point is, right, and you're absolutely right about that, is that your comments of Trent Sherfield outplaying Brandon Aiyuk does not jive with the reason that Trent Sherfield has 2 snaps now. Like, it does not make sense now. What did Trent Sherfield do now that he doesn't belong on the field now at this point? So, again, it's less about, again, we're speculating, right? We don't know what's going on in-house, right? And we're just trying to figure it out. But at the same time, when you tell me, and we saw it with our own eyes, Brad, we were at camp. We saw with our own eyes. Trent Sherfield made plays every single day. And every time that we were taking our notes, we looked at each other and we were like, man, look at Sherfield, man. Like, did Arizona make a mistake? So that kind of made sense. But now it doesn't make sense when Trent Sherfield's not seeing the field at all. And it's like, man, if you want to make a point about Trent Sherfield outplaying Brandon Aiyuk, go for it. But then put Trent Sherfield on the field and show us. That's it.
Yeah. I would absolutely love to see both of those wide receivers get some run. Nothing against Mohamed Sanu. I think Mohamed Sanu, he's had a drop here or there, but he's been pretty serviceable for the most part. But I actually wouldn't mind.
That's the key word. That's the key word, though. Serviceable.
Right.
Serviceable, man. Like, it's just, look, he started off hot. And after a while, it was very clear that Trent Sherfield was outplaying him. Very clear. And here's the slap in the face, the Arizona game. Travis Benjamin, who hasn't been playing all year, first route run, Travis Benjamin. Make it
Oh
make
man.
sense. Please make it make sense, please. Because Travis Benjamin never once ever showed me anything in camp that led me to believe that he was better than Trent Sherfield or Brandon Aiyuk or any of those guys to deserve that target. I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
I can only going back to training camp, I can only think of one catch. He had one catch from it was like a 50-yard bomb
Yep.
from Trey Lance, and he actually had to go up over a defender. It might have been Dante Johnson, I can't remember, but I think it was. Had to go over the top, made the catch. That was the only play that I can recognize and noted of Travis Benjamin's time with that. Nothing against Travis Benjamin. Again, we're just trying to put it into perspective.
No, and that's the
Again, like
thing.
why Kyle Juszczyk is getting so many targets and so many receptions. Not, and I want to be clear. I've been calling for Kyle Juszczyk to get more targets. Yeah, like and more usage. Yeah. But it's like when we see Ross Dwelley get 2 targets, Warner get 1, Benjamin get 3. It's just where does Aiyuk fit into all this when he's only getting 4? And it just feels like we want to see that more. We just want to see more design, more intention. And I think that's just when we're trying to put a bow on this Aiyuk conversation, I think all we really want to see at the end of the day is an intentional usage of the first round draft pick.
That's my point, right? And that's my thing is there are plays designed to get people the ball in space and get them the ball. Like, listen, that's my issue, right? Why can't you do it for him? Why can't you do it? You've done it for Kittle. You've done it for Debo. You've done it for Juszczyk. You've done it for Dwelley. Like, whenever you run leak and you get him open, you know, like, why not for the guy that you traded up for to get and the guy who showed out last year? And I understand all that, you know, about, all right, maybe he's not run blocking, whatever. That's fine. But at the same time, do you want to make a point to your team or do you want to win games? And you know that this fan base right now is not going to stand by and worry about development when it comes to that. They need to see games won. It's year 5. There's one winning season. One. And this team came into the season with Super Bowl aspirations or a deep playoff run aspirations. And right now, I'm sorry to say, 49er fans, and week 6, that does not look like what this team is. And I understand that you guys are upset about that. I understand that. But at the same time, man, put that ego aside. Put whatever you got going on aside. Get the ball to your playmakers, man. And that's it. That's really all it is. And listen, I'm not smarter than Kyle Shanahan. Trust me. I'm just a guy who's yelling at a camera. Promise you.
Just a guy. You're spicy, Aponte. What are you talking about? Don't sell yourself short.
We're chilling right now. We ain't even spicy like that. We chilling.
We ain't even spicy like that.
We chilling right now. We ain't doing nothing crazy. I'm gonna get crazy if we lose this game to the Colts. I'm gonna get crazy if we lose this game to the Colts.
Next Wednesday's episode, if this is an L against the Colts, you're gonna have to tune in.
Because and then hold up. And then that next Wednesday episode is on the preface of me leaving to Chicago to go watch our Prince. Possibly take down the 49ers in Chicago. The 49ers have 2 games in their midst that they should win. Both of them.
Oh my god.
Both of them.
Could you imagine if Justin Fields comes out, which he might. Again, you talked about the whole the revenge aspect. Again, human element of football. It's real. It is really real. And a lot of people don't take that into account. And I agree with you. How do you think Justin Fields thinks after the private pro day and the shots of Kyle Shanahan and him smiling against each other and like the whole flirting?
Hold up, Brad. They were drawing up plays leaving Justin Fields pro day.
Oh,
and the plays were quarterback power into the offense into the defensive line. Don't tell me that Justin Fields ain't gonna come out here wanting to show something.
Justin Fields is there's clearly a relationship between Justin Fields and Kyle Shanahan. And so I think there is they've never played each other in the NFL. There's no college connection other than the pre-draft process. And that pre-draft process was a doozy for everyone, whether you were covering it. Could you imagine being one of those prospects in that time? I think that's going to be a little spicy.
I'm really more just upset that we're not going to get Lance versus Fields. on Halloween in Chicago.
Yes.
I'll be in Soldier Field. I'll be there. I'm in there, like all set, ready to go. I'm going. Like I'm there. But man, yes, you can't tell me that Justin Fields doesn't feel a certain type of way, because when all these things come out now about the process,
right,
he seems to be left out. And it seems to me that the two quarterbacks that were only in the conversation were one, Trey Lance, and two, Mayo Mac. And Justin Fields has to feel slighted by that, because there was no more desirable location to land than San Francisco. None. Because of what? Kyle Shanahan.
Yep.
So, oh my goodness,
and because of Justin Fields' experience and what he had been through during his time at Ohio State.
But at the same time, one game at a time. We're talking about the Colts.
Of course, one game at a time.
Yeah,
see, we're already teasing the next show. We're already teasing Wednesday's show. Tune in. It's gonna be a great episode, whether we win or lose. Might actually be even a better episode if we lose. I don't want them to lose.
No. If we win,
I want them to win. I'm saying for our viewers, they're just gonna be eating their popcorn, watching Spicy Aponte go crazy. It's gonna be beautiful entertainment.
It depends on how they lose, right? Like if the 49ers lose this game and there's things that are out of their control, or let's say the Colts play their best game of the year, then that's something that I won't like go crazy on. But man, yeah, if things go left, then things might get a little crazy. But I'm predicting a 49ers win. But it's not going to be an easy win. This is going to be a down to the wire win. Just like, look, the parity in the NFL right now is so great. And even the worst teams can put up their best games in certain games, and especially when the 49ers are playing the way that they are at this point. So there's no easy games in this league. None. So I expect the 49ers to win this game. I do. But I do think that it's going to be way closer than it should have been when you look at, in the beginning of the year and when you look at where the teams are now. But it will be a very close game. But I still have the 49ers winning this game.
I think that's fair. I think the 49ers should win this game as well. Obviously, I think the 49ers should have won pretty much every game they've played this year if they played their game. And I think that's what we talk about a lot on this show, and what we have communicated all year is that it just feels like this team hasn't been operating on all cylinders on each phase. All three phases. I keep talking about all three phases. And through the first 5 weeks of the year, it has landed on the phase of the offense, and the offense needing to get up to speed, needing to be efficient, because let's be honest, I keep talking about this with Kyle Shanahan as a fifth-year head coach, offensive coordinator of this team, Jimmy Garoppolo as the fourth year in this offensive scheme as the starter of this team. We would expect more, and I think it's fair to expect more. We just need to see all of those little things. So basically, how I've seen the offense operate up until this point is they have looked good. They have looked good in a lot of spots. But what we see happening is one missed block here, one missed read there, one missed cutting lane here. It's just we're that far away from being 5-0 right now. So that's the silver lining as we kind of head into the Colts game, and you really want to see them just dial that in and have a complete game.
And that's the point, Brad. And I think that's why everybody's so frustrated, because execution falls on one guy. And you know me, you know us.
Only Shans.
Co-founder of Only Shans, you know us. At the same time, man, it's your job to make sure that guys understand the play calls, they're executing in the proper way. The Kyle Juszczyk quarterback sneak. We realized on tape that was supposed to be a pitch, but he ran the ball and he got stopped. But that's on the coach. Why doesn't he know to go to that play? That's not what you called. What Kyle did right there is a typical Kyle move. Show something on tape, show it again, and then run something out of it that's different to catch the defense completely off guard. Guess what? The Cardinals knew what was coming. They also ran up to the line, and Kyle called the right call. But I got to blame you for the execution. Why didn't Kyle know? Why didn't Kyle Juszczyk know to pitch that thing out to him? And that's the problem right now.
And it was set up nice, too.
Oh, Trey Lance is running that in for a touchdown.
And you
and
got
that's it.
Trent Williams out there in the open just looking for someone to hit. Like, oh
But
my gosh, it was set up so nice.
why does your fullback that is brought here, that understands everything that's going on, the reason that you brought him here, why does he not know that was the play call? Why does he get confused with that? That's not his fault.
Something tells me it was a bit of an RPO style where he had the option to either run it or pitch it. And he just, I don't know, maybe he thought he could get it. Maybe he thought they weren't as far as he thought. Maybe he thought there was a crease. I don't know, because to your point, it's there on tape. They set it up to be a beautiful counter to the play that they ran the week before. It just unfortunately wasn't.
I got a tea time after this. It said, this ain't a golf shirt, it's a rugby shirt.
They're coming after Spicy Jason.
No, that's fresh cool. I love it, man. The comments are making me laugh,
fresh to death as always. So we're at 50 minutes here. I think what we could do right now is, as we kind of wrap it up, we'll put a bow on what we think for Colts versus 49ers, but get your questions in the chat. Ask Jason anything you got while we got him. And he'll either, if you get him in the right question, you might see some spicy Jason come out.
Don't bring up Brandon Aiyuk, none of that. I don't want to hear it. Like, I've already gone too far with the Brandon Aiyuk stuff. Enough.
All right, so we've talked a ton about offense, right? We talked a ton about offense. We've touched a little bit on defense. And before we get to the questions, what is just your thoughts on the defense? What do they need to do heading into this week against the Colts?
Well, T.Y. Hilton didn't practice today, so we don't know if he's going to actually be up to speed. He played last week against the Texans, and we all know, anybody who knows anything about football knows that T.Y. Hilton owns the Texans, and that's why he was ready to play in this game. So Paris Campbell's not going to be in this game. So literally what you're looking at on the outside is going to be Michael Pittman, who I think the world of. I really think that he's a great receiver.
I love Pittman, man. He's so good out of USC.
Yeah. Absolutely. And T.Y. Hilton, who is going to cause problems even at his age, right? Like, he still has a little bit of burst, right? And we're going to see. But if he doesn't play, then that really plays to the 49ers' advantage. Absolutely. I mean, look, when you talk about where the tight ends are, you got Jack Doyle, you got Mo Alley Cox. Mo Alley Cox is more right now at this point a jump ball in the end zone type guy.
Right. He's big, though.
Right. He's a huge man. Huge man.
He's massive.
Man. But Jonathan Taylor is really where I think the 49ers need to put their focus on. And not necessarily in the running game, because the 49ers have done good in the run game. It's more about them finding a way to get him the ball in space. He only had, what I believe, 12 touches last week, but he had something like 148 yards and a touch. So Jonathan Taylor is a walking any moment, break it open. If you're not disciplined in your defense gap, he's going to make you pay. Jonathan Taylor's a baller. He is a baller, man. So that's where it really is going to come down to. And it's more about making sure that Carson Wentz stays in that pocket, and he doesn't have time to maneuver outside of that pocket. You saw last year kind of what can happen with that. And he had less receivers to work with than he does now, even if T.Y. Hilton, let's say, doesn't make this game. So it's really going to come down to what the 49ers have done well. I think the 49ers, what they did well against Kyler Murray was this. And I know it sounds simple. Rush your edge defenders, keep him in the pocket, because he's not a step up into the pocket guy. He is a get outside and then move guy. What the problem is, and this is the difference between Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray. Russell Wilson steps up, then runs out. Kyler Murray is not looking to step up. He's running out.
Because that's where all the big boys are.
Right. And he can't see over those guys. With Carson Wentz, he's a lot bigger, obviously, but you still want to make him step up, make those throws down the field, make sure that pressure is coming in the same way. I feel like this 49ers defense has been carrying this team right now at this point. DeMeco Ryans has been the best coach on this staff all year. And I don't think anyone can argue that. I don't think anyone can argue that. And for Jesse asking me, what did I think about the Batman trailer? I think that you're about to see the best Batman movie since Dark Knight. The Dark Knight. Ooh. But hey, whatever. That's completely different. I'm looking in the comments right now. I'm sorry.
So I apparently have to go watch the Batman trailer after this, because the Dark Knight is legendary. I don't know if anything has ever touched the Dark Knight, but
the Dark Knight is the GOAT Batman movie for sure.
Yeah, of course.
And I am gonna make a prediction about the Batman being very close to that, if not better than that. Anyway, but at the same time, just keep Carson Wentz in the pocket, make him make those throws, trust your defense, and I feel like the 49ers defense has been incredible, man. And I have to give a lot of props to DeMeco Ryans. If you would have told me that right now, DeMeco Ryans as a rookie defensive coordinator would be the best coach on this staff in week 6, I would have told you that makes no sense. And that would never happen. But he is already doing better than Robert Saleh, who everybody loves. And that's it. And that's just it right now. Because Robert Saleh, and for 49er fans that don't remember, you guys wanted him fired after like the first game. Yeah. So don't
2018, you wanted him gone. No one wanted Robert Saleh.
Don't do the revisionist history just because you like what Saleh did later on. Don't do that. So he's already ahead of where Saleh is. He's already 100%. Ahead of him. 100%. So I think this defense has a great shot to keep this game close. This isn't going to be a high scoring game. It's going to be a very close game, but the 49ers defense has enough to limit this offense, especially when you're considering what they have as far as their pieces go. And DeMeco Ryans has done a hell of a job, man. I don't think he could have done a better job than he has these past 5 games.
I think you're 100% right on your analysis of DeMeco Ryans and the defense. I think the defense has been one of the bright spots of the team, considering the injuries that have plagued them at defensive back. They've lost a couple linebackers ever since Dre Greenlaw's gone out. Azeez Al-Shaair has stepped up and made a big role on this defense, and they're adding some pieces to see what else they can do there. But in regards to the
No, I'm laughing at Sourdough Night. No, just the comments. The comments are the comments. Sourdough Night. I think these are the comments. The comments have been great. Honestly, I'm having a blast right now.
The comments in our squad over here are great. They're fantastic. We love the Sourdough Squad around here. But to get back into while Jason laughs at all your comments.
I'm sorry.
No, go.
No,
go.
I'm done.
Keep laughing. When we're looking at the Colts and we're looking at what the 49ers need to do from a offensive defensive standpoint, the offensive rallying cry is the same. Run the football, control the clock, limit turnovers, and play in unison. That's it. They do that, they win the game.
Yep.
From the defensive side of things, I think the game plan that you detailed from the defensive side of things is absolutely perfect. You did a really good job of pinpointing all their weapons. They have a lot of weapons, and I think people need to be cognizant of that. And it all starts, in my opinion, with Jonathan Taylor, and everything is built and flourishes off of that, because that guy's a difference maker right now for that team. But in regards to everything, is this the game that we get? I haven't seen it officially reported. When do we get Jordan Willis back?
So it was supposed to be 6 weeks, right? And this is
6 weeks, like game weeks, or
I think it's games. And that's the same thing where it goes with Kittle. Like, he's not going to be playing this week. And real quick before I divert, Lamar Livingston, you're asking where I got this. I actually got it from Fanatics. They have it on there as a rugby shirt that you can grab on there too. So, Jordan Willis is supposed to be out 6 weeks. 6 games, not 6 weeks.
Okay.
And it's the same.
We'll get him against the Bears.
Right, and it's the same thing with George Kittle, right? So Kittle isn't out 3 weeks. He's out 3 games. And the bye week doesn't count. So it's the same thing.
Right. Okay. So we still got Mo Hurst back. I think Mo Hurst showed a little bit of some reinforcements. We don't really know what's going on with Javon Kinlaw. So we'll figure it out in regards to what's going on in the trenches there. But I think for the defensive, for the most part, they're gonna have a really strong matchup against them. Same as the offense. The Colts defense has a lot of weapons as well on that side of the football. So we know going into this is going to be a hard game. I don't think it's going to be an easy game by any sense of the imagination. It will take the 49ers executing. And that's the hope, is that we see this team executing on both sides. And if this team executes on both sides, it sounds simple, right? It sounds really simple. But if they can do their job, all 11 pieces on each side at the same time, this team will be in a much different place than they've looked these last couple of weeks. So that being said, you got the 49ers winning. Have you done a score prediction? Do you want to throw a score prediction out?
I think that this game ends up being something like in the range of like 21-17, 28-24, something in that range right now. So it's going to be a very close game. Now, when you factor in, like, I know you Californians can tell me better than I would be able to speculate. Why is it going to rain in California on Sunday night? Like, do you guys have anything like? Is there a weather making machine that is making this happen? Because from my belief, California, it never
There's no weather.
rains.
It's just sunny
But
all the time.
95% chance of rain on Sunday night, man. Goodness gracious. No, that's what makes it more of a who's going to win in the trenches, who's going to actually get it done. And the 49ers win this game 21-17, 24-21, something very, very close. But the 49ers win this game. They better come out and play like the desperate team this week. They better. And that's the only way that they're going to win this game. And you're absolutely right. I know it sounds easy to say execution, but that's what it boils down to. That's really what it boils down to at this point. It's really about execution, and it's really about who has the better roster, which I still believe is the 49ers, and who has the better coaching, which I still believe is the 49ers on both sides of the ball. So I expect them to win this game. Bottom line.
Absolutely, man. Spin facts per usual. So we're gonna transition really quickly over to some questions that you guys have for Jason or and we will answer them. And it's gonna be interesting to see. I haven't actually been watching the chat because I got stuck on a question that I wanted to pull up. So I'm excited to go down and see what you guys got for me. So drop your questions in the chat. We're gonna start off with this first one. Chasing Gold, faithful Sourdough Squad member says, do you guys trust this coaching staff has a plan for the future and Trey Lance? And I'll start with you, Jason.
I do. Even if I don't agree with what they've been going on right now, I do. And I have to, right, at this point, because I don't feel like Kyle Shanahan's going anywhere. No matter what any of you guys want to say, I think that the one person that's not going anywhere, if there is a fall guy, it's not Kyle Shanahan. So it's got to be something like that. So I will trust this coaching staff because there is somebody higher up that is calling the shots that won't let it be Kyle. He's not the fall guy. He's not, and he won't be. There's someone else that will be, and I have to trust that they understand that what Kyle wants to do, and they believe in Kyle the way that I believe in Kyle, because I believe that he is one of the better coaches in this league. He just has to show it. Everybody goes through their growing pains. I hate to keep bringing it up. Bill Belichick had a similar record his first 5 years. When he finally got his quarterback, and we have to hope that that is Trey Lance, all of a sudden Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time. Things happen on different timelines. So I believe that they have the right guy. I'm hoping that they have the right guy, and I'm going to trust their process on that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think you actually spoke to this a little bit on the last episode. I think you called it the 49ers went through this off season and they landed on plan Z, essentially. Like they exhausted all options. They had plans in place, and they unfortunately just had to kind of land on what they landed on. And I won't say unfortunately, like we're not excited with Trey Lance. I just think if they could have gone in the time machine, a Deshaun Watson with no cases, or a Stafford,
Stafford before the Rams.
Exactly. I think that would have this team looking a little bit differently from an execution standpoint. But in regards to the plan that they did land on, which was Trey Lance, I think that's part of it. I think what we're seeing throughout this entire offseason, before they traded up to 3, when they traded up to 3, and then until they drafted Lance. Again, they called Aaron Rodgers on the night of the draft.
On draft night. So again, this more feels like plan Z than it does your actual plan.
So I think that's kind of why it feels like, and why Kyle keeps talking about this year as a redshirt year for Trey Lance, is because they know the ceiling, they know the talent is there, but just like anyone has ever said who's stepped foot into his offense, whether it's Deebo Samuel, whether it's an offensive lineman, whether it's a tight end, this offense is really, really hard to learn. There's a lot of nuances. There's a lot of really small details. So maybe it is in the best interest that Trey Lance doesn't start right away. And I think that's part of the thing that I wrestle with personally when I see the talent. You see the talent is there, but there are so many small nuances that go on outside the lines or in between the huddle, that just the way you spit out a play, the way you can like make adjustments in game on the fly. I think Alex Mack kind of spoke to that on KMBR either today or earlier this week.
I want the guy who wins games is what he said.
Wants the guy who wins game. And I think when I'm reading his quotes and I was going through it all, I was like, is he saying something bad about Trey? No, he wasn't. He was really just talking to, I think, the maturity level. I'm not saying he's not immature, but from a scheme standpoint. it takes time to become comfortable executing certain schemes, working with certain people, and we all understand it. Jimmy Garoppolo has been the starter since day one of training camp, and
Oh yeah.
it hasn't wavered. So in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion, it took me a long time, but I'm starting to believe that I think Kyle really does want Trey Lance to sit for the year and just kind of learn at his own pace and come on when he wants to come on. I think Trey Lance can play now and win games with a modified scheme that is a little bit more simplified for him to play faster. But in that, all things being considered, I think they're having to kind of operate based on keeping Jimmy Garoppolo and his contract on the books. And I think you operate a certain way moving forward. I think Trey Lance got in a little bit sooner than they wanted to. Um, but when he got in, he showed a lot of promise and a lot of things that he was capable of. So I do trust what they're doing. Now, I think we both agreed that they would have liked to do something differently than what it's landed on. But all things considered, they kind of have to ride the ship out. So
Yeah,
I
and
think
I agree
go
with
ahead.
you. I agree with you on that 100%. And I think that Kyle Shanahan is not stupid either in the terms of that taking your time with the quarterback and giving him another year resets your timeline, right? Because if you go with Trey right away, then people are going to be like, man, you didn't develop him this year. And let's say Trey goes out there and he struggles the entire year, right? Let's say he started game one, right? Like that is something that is going to be a discussion around him. But at the same time, when you look at the draft capital, when you look at what you could have done in the beginning, when you talk about getting money off the books with Jimmy Garoppolo, let's just say it, you could have insulated this team earlier on, right? Not now, right? Like there's no point to cutting Jimmy Garoppolo now. What's that $24 million, is $26 million going to do for you now? It won't do anything for you now. But if you would have done it when you had the chance to do it, when you knew that you were going to go up to 3, or you would have made a move to trade him somewhere before everybody got settled at the quarterback position, then things get a little bit different. So I think that Kyle Shanahan understood that no one would have blamed him for sitting Trey Lance. No one would have blamed him, especially considering didn't play a year, right? Didn't play last year. 21 years old, but at the same time, you kind of got a glimpse of it in the Arizona game as to why everybody is kind of excited about him. And the same way that I'm excited about him, because when everything was going wrong, somehow the kid was still punching, still moving the ball, still doing things in his first start ever in the league. And I think that's really what people are more attached to at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Another question that we have from Sean: are there any free agents that you can see us going after that I guess are on the streets, available, practice squad guys, anyone to come
I've been
save us?
I've been yelling for John Brown, whatever. He's on
Is he
Broncos practice squad.
still? Oh,
No,
he's on the
Broncos
practice
practice
squad.
squad.
Okay.
Broncos practice squad. I just don't think there's anybody right now. They had a chance, though, in the offseason. I wanted AJ Boye. That would have been an absolute amazing depth piece right now for this team. There were plenty of people, but at this point right now, I don't think so. Next year, though, next year's receiver class. Let me run down some of these names real quick. Devontae Adams, Allen Robinson, DJ Moore. 1, 2, and 3. One of you guys, maybe, possibly, hopefully, could end up being on the 49ers roster at this point.
But I've wanted Keenan Allen wearing red and gold for the longest time. You have no idea.
And that's the thing, right? Like when I was talking about in the offseason, hey, make sure you go for AJ Boye, make sure you go. It was for the reason that unfortunately came to fruition was Jason Verrett's health the year before the
outlier.
The exception? Yeah, was
Right.
that the exception or was that the rule? And it wasn't anything against Jason Verrett, but I feel like you had to insulate yourself with that. Now you're at a point where you had to pivot to Josh Norman, to Drake Kirkpatrick, to Dante Johnson. And I feel like AJ Boye would have been better than a lot of those guys, especially coming off of the PED suspension that he just came off of because he had to miss a game. You could have had him for relatively nothing. And I wish that the 49ers invested a little bit more in cornerbacks because the defensive line is already set. They're already set. Like, that's it. Like, and if you can have that on the back end, then it makes your defense that much more important. That more important.
100%. We got a Hashtag free Aiyuk from Manny, I believe. I don't know. These ads are hard to read sometimes.
Right.
But I'm gonna transition that into another question. So that was from Instagram. Dylan on YouTube says, "Will Aiyuk ask for a trade? He's scared." Jason, are you scared?
I'm scared. I mean, at this point, if things don't change soon, would you blame him?
Mm-mm.
I think that there are 25, 27 other teams that would love to get their hands on Brandon Aiyuk in some form or fashion. And I mean, I know that that's not why you hold on to a guy just because other guys would be interested in him. I mean, if Dante Pettis was picked up right away, right after the 49ers let him go, imagine the free-for-all that would
Oh
happen
my
if
gosh.
Brandon Aiyuk became available. So I'm very nervous. I'm nervous when it comes to that. And I wouldn't blame him at all. But that's why you have to rectify the situation immediately.
Right.
Please
Right.
rectify it.
Right. And that's why I'm scared as well, because like we talked and touched on a little bit with not ownership, but management coming out and making public statements about it and clearly identifying that there's something going on, it just causes more turmoil. It causes more people to hop into Brandon Ayuk's DMs and be, where you at? Where you at, bro? My fantasy team's killing. Like, we're dying without you. Like, it's just it causes a lot of turmoil on the
More.
external.
Hmm.
It might be fine and nothing's going on internally, or they're being able to manage it and work towards the right direction. It's the external noise. It just creates more. It creates more questions about management. It creates more questions about Brandon Aiyuk. Creates more uncertainty. It creates
About
more
development.
toxicity. Questions about development have now been brought into this week where it's like, God, what else can come up? We just heard about Buckner. What other trade that happened 4 years ago is going to get brought up and bring up all this other PTSD? It's like, that's the road that we're going. So I am scared that they continue to voice it outwardly, because to me, that tells me they're not hearing the message internally, which is why they have to come out externally. And so that scares me. And I think, like I said, when you're the player and you're getting barraged, when your GM comes out and says something, these guys are humans. We talk about the human element all the time. And the human side of it is, I'm scared. I'm scared that Brandon Aiyuk isn't going to work out, because there could have been your whichever wide receiver you could. You talked about Pittman; he was available in that draft. If you wanted to take him in the second, like there's all different types of scenarios that could have happened that now fans think about when this
Wait,
stuff becomes public.
you mean like drafting Terry McLaurin instead of Jalen Hurd? Sorry, didn't mean to do that.
Damn it, Jason.
Sorry, didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry.
I love, though, that you and I both loved Terry pre-draft.
But you know what gets me more mad about it? Kyle, you were at the Senior Bowl and Terry was there.
He was there. But do you know who else was there?
Debo.
Jalen Hurd.
But he was tunnel vision on what he thought it was supposed to be. Goodness gracious, man. I understand what you think is about to happen, but Terry McLaurin, the only thing that was wrong with Terry McLaurin is that he was underutilized. It was all there in front of you. Getting Terry McLaurin stops you from drafting another wide receiver later on, because guess what? Terry McLaurin has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons with Joe Hoozits, my daughter, my friend down the street throwing him the ball. Like, literally, that's how you have to look at it.
He's DeAndre Hopkins light. He'll produce no matter what quarterback is throwing the football. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Terry McLaurin is a special player.
Yes.
We identified that pre-draft, both of us, and we weren't even homies at that point.
No, we weren't. But it's just
I didn't even know who you were. We figured it out. And
that was the year before that we met at the Senior Bowl, when I was able to secure that Brad Graham follow at the Senior Bowl. Like, I had to
but you had to ask me straight up. You're like, the phone's right in front of me. Like, hey, you gonna follow me?
Are you gonna follow me or what, bro? Like, what are we even doing out here?
Oh my gosh,
I can't wait for next year for the Senior Bowl. I can't wait to
Senior Bowl
who we crush on, because fantastic. Look, because think about it like this, right? We were at the Senior Bowl. Trey Lance was in the stands. We missed him, right?
We
But we
missed
all
him.
love Michael Carter. Demetri Felton's going to get his shot this week on
Yep.
Thursday. Javonte Williams. There was so
There's
many
so many
players that
guys.
we were just sitting there, just like, oh my god, look at
So
this
many
guy,
guys.
look at this guy.
Creed
man.
Humphrey's balling out.
Dude, yeah, and remember, we walked up to Michael Carter's family and we were like, man, get him in the Shanahan offense and 1,000 yards easy on the ground, like no questions asked. I mean, he just went to a different Shanahan offense with the Jets, but I'm glad that we nailed that one because they felt the same way that we did.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about this? Apparently, there's a video floating around on YouTube that Aiyuk's routes have been regressing. Do you think it's a matter of regression, or do you think it's a matter of the style of play calling and the design of the routes that they're having him run?
See, I want to be one of those guys that when I don't know something, I'm going to say I don't know. And that's it. I'm just going to say I don't know. And I would love to see that video. If you guys want to send it to me on Twitter, I would love to take a look. I would love to take a look at it so I can evaluate it myself. I don't want to be Chris Broussard telling you that Taylor Lewan being out was the reason that Josh Allen didn't get that fourth down. Because as any casual NFL fan knows, Taylor Lewan actually plays for the Tennessee Titans and not the Buffalo Bills. So I will not speculate on what happened with no, seriously, Brad. This man went on national television and said the reason that Josh Allen didn't convert that 4th and 1 is because Taylor Lewan left that game. And I woke up and that's the first thing that I saw on my timeline. I was furious because you know what? You can say what you want about me. I would never get that mixed up in any way. I know Taylor Lewan plays for the Tennessee Titans. But at the same time, if I don't know, I'm going to make sure I tell you I don't know. And I don't know. I would love to see that video. And I would love to take a look at it because it may change my mind. Maybe. And I'm not going to speculate because I haven't seen it.
I would have to piggyback on top of that. Brandon Aiyuk isn't someone that I have been 100% studying like crazy. He hasn't got a ton of opportunities. And in the times that he's been in games, he hasn't been the primary read on a lot of the cases. I have seen instances where he was the primary and he ran a really, really good route or ran solid route. It's an anticipatory throw that the quarterback sometimes decides not to let loose with timing when it needs to. That's a whole nother conversation.
Somebody on Twitter, DM me that link. If you follow me and I follow you, DM me that link or shoot it to me, add it to me because I can't grab it right now. Like when I'm on, when we're doing the YouTube thing.
Okay. It's from Johnny Dell's.
But send it to me.
Yeah, I actually just stumbled onto Johnny Dell's. That dude's good. I like him. He's really good at breaking it down. He's really good at making you kind of break down the coverages and respond. He's pretty damn good. So I'm actually going to go check that out as well.
That's good.
So how about this? We're at an hour 20. We know that regardless of what happens this week, next Wednesday is going to be spicy. Whether it's a win, we're going to be happy spicy. But if they lose, we're going to be mad spicy. It's going to be a scorcher out there, as they say, if they lose this game against the Colts. So as we kind of put a close on the show and we move forward into our week, what is something that you want to close on? Any parting words, any wisdom that Spicy Jason has for 49ers fans, for this team, how you want to see them execute moving forward? What are you kind of feeling as we wrap up the show?
Be the team that we think you are. Be the team that we think you are. Win this game. Go out there, atomic opponent. Yeah, if the 49ers don't come out here and they don't and they let's say get rolled on, if they get rolled on or something like that, or if it's a complete embarrassing performance, yeah, you might get some crazy stuff. But no, just be the team that we think you are at this point. Relatively healthy going into this game. I still believe that this team can turn it around. They are only a game or a half game out of a wild card spot. There's a lot of things to be happy about or to be positive about, right? The 49ers are a quarter away or a few plays away from being not only 4-1, maybe even 5-0 at this point, right? So these are things that you can latch onto, but at the same time, win the damn game and start winning because your schedule opens up now. The schedule opens up and it actually gets easier. Win the game, and I won't yell as much, but I want to go into me going into the Chicago game and going to Soldier Field because I'll be out there. I want to go into it with the win and knowing that the 49ers have a chance to get a second win against a team that I feel that they're better than, which is the Chicago Bears, even if our Prince is the actual quarterback for that team right now.
Well said. Biggest keys for me, want to see the offense. I want to see the offense for 4 quarters, not 2.5, not 3, not 3.5. 4 quarters, start to finish. You mentioned it earlier. Starts and stops with the run game. It starts and stops with Kyle Shanahan. It starts and stops with Jimmy Garoppolo. The combination of all these guys together, I would really, really like to see them take that next step forward.
Your comment section is wild, bro. Yo, I thought being on Grant's show was the wildest comments that I've seen. I don't know, man. You're giving Grant a run for his money when it comes to these comment sections.
Look, sourdough Brad gonna be spicy habanero bread. Facts. I'm gonna have all the jalapeno chunks in me and everything. It's about to be wild. But yeah, so I just really think that biggest thing for me is I want to see the offense take that next step forward. I feel like they've been kind of stuck in neutral. I just really want to see them pop out of that. And I want to see them hit first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear. You know the analogy. I want them to keep ramping up throughout that game. So that's the biggest takeaway and things that I want to see against the Colts. But we'll have plenty of more to talk about this week, the rest of the week. Jason, please tell the family, the Sourdough Squad, where they can find you and subscribe, follow, all that good stuff.
At Jason Aponte 2103 on Twitter, at J Aponte 2103 on Instagram, and Jason Aponte on YouTube. I'm seeing somebody saying that I blocked them. I don't block people. So I mean, here's the thing: if I don't follow you, you can't send me a DM. So I haven't blocked any. I don't block anybody. That's not my thing, because here's my thought process on it. If you don't like me, I'm not gonna block you. I need you to see me flourish, and I don't want to block you. I want you to see the progress, right? Like so. If there is something that's going on, I don't know. I don't block people, but Jason Aponte 2103 on Twitter. And Glinch doesn't block people either. Jesus, man, you guys will not get.
We almost made it. We almost made it a whole show.
A whole show without it. No, but yeah. Jason Aponte on Twitter. J Aponte 2103 on IG. Jason Aponte 2103 on Twitter. So just follow me there, and yeah, let's talk, man. Let's have some fun or whatever. But yeah, I don't really I don't block people. That's not my thing, man. Like I'm not with that. Like I said, if you don't like me, I just want you to see me flourish. So I'm not gonna block you. How am I supposed to block you if you see me winning? Like, I'm not trying to do that. Like, that's not my thing.
See, the mayor is the mayor for a reason. He's a man of the people. He doesn't block you out. If you don't like him, then that's on you, right?
You just got to watch him work.
Just watch him work, because this man is a master of his craft. Jason, thank you so much, as always, for joining me. It was a lot of fun. I wish there were more bye weeks. I wish I could go into the wilderness and recharge more often and fight McGlinchey trolls in the woods more often. But we are now back in the seat for 12 weeks. So hopefully there's a much better outcome at the end of this tunnel. Thank you, as always, for joining me. Again, you guys know where to find Jason. Make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button, because we'll be back next Wednesday. And like I said, it's going to be spicy with a win or a loss. So make sure you tune in. I appreciate you guys. Until then, be safe. We are out of here.